Did you know that more than 80% of the world's central banks have faced political pressure in the last decade? That's right! Institutions that were designed to be neutral guardians of money, above politics, above short-term agendas, are now under attack. And here's the shocking part. In some countries, governments have openly fired central bank governors who resisted political influence. In others, leaders have threatened to rewrite the rules that protect central banks' independence. This isn't just inside baseball for economists. This affects you, your savings, your job, and the price of food you put on the table. When central bank independence is at risk, the money in your pocket is at risk too. So what does it mean when we say central bank independence? It means that institutions like the Federal Reserve in the United States, the European Central Bank in Europe, or the Bank of England in the UK should make decisions based on economics, not politics. They control interest rates, regulate banks, and manage inflation. Their job is to keep money stable. But politicians have different incentives. They want growth, they want jobs, and often, they want quick wins that look good before elections. That's why independence matters. If politicians control central banks, they might force them to print more money, cut interest rates recklessly, or ignore inflation, all for short-term popularity. And history shows us what happens when that line is crossed: hyperinflation, currency collapse, and economic chaos. Take Turkey as an example. In the last few years, its central bank governors were fired repeatedly because they refused to follow the president's unconventional ideas about interest rates. The result? The Turkish lira lost more than 80% of its value in just 5 years. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that your savings are worth only a fraction of what they were yesterday. Prices of basic goods skyrocketed, and ordinary families paid the price. That is the danger of losing independence. Or look back at Zimbabwe in the 2000s. Under political pressure, the central bank printed money endlessly to finance government spending. The result? At its peak, inflation was so high that prices doubled every single day. People carried wheelbarrows of cash to buy a loaf of bread. Banknotes with denominations of 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollars became worthless. That wasn't just bad policy, it was the complete collapse of trust in money itself. Here's the shocking truth. Even in advanced economies, cracks are showing. In the United States, debates over whether the Federal Reserve should be influenced by politics have grown louder. The European Central Bank faces criticism from member states who want more say in interest rates. Central banks are supposed to be the referees of the financial game, but more and more players on the field are trying to rewrite the rules. Why should you care? Because your life is directly connected to these decisions. Let me make it human. When a central bank raises interest rates, your mortgage payment might go up, making it harder to afford your home. When they cut rates, your savings account earns less, but borrowing becomes cheaper. When they fight inflation, your grocery bill stabilizes. When they lose independence and bow to politics, inflation often runs wild and your money loses value faster than you can earn it. Independence isn't an academic idea. It's the difference between financial security and financial ruin for everyday families. Let's break this down further. Central banks have 3 major jobs: keep inflation stable, maintain financial stability, and support jobs and growth. When they are independent, they can focus on long-term health. But when politicians interfere, they often push for quick fixes. Think of it like your own health. If you only ate junk food because it made you happy in the moment, your long-term health would collapse. Central banks need the discipline of eating their vegetables, sometimes raising interest rates, sometimes being strict to keep the system balanced. Politicians, on the other hand, often want candy now, cheap money, fast growth, quick wins. The clash between these two visions is what puts independence at risk. Now, let's talk about 22. Over 40 emerging market countries faced protests directly related to food and fuel prices. Many of those crises were linked to central banks struggling to control inflation while governments pushed for more spending. When independence weakens, currencies collapse, and when currencies collapse, ordinary people bear the brunt. But here's the twist. Central bank independence is not perfect either. Critics argue that these institutions are too powerful, too secretive, and often disconnected from the struggles of ordinary citizens. For example, when the Federal Reserve raises interest rates to fight inflation, it can make it harder for people to buy homes or for small businesses to borrow money. Independence, while important, must also come with accountability. The balance between independence and accountability is delicate, but when independence is stripped away entirely, history shows us the results are disastrous. So, what does the future look like? We are entering a period of extraordinary challenges: climate change, technological disruption, artificial intelligence, digital currencies, and massive government debts. Central banks are being asked to do more than ever. Should they regulate crypto? Should they fight climate change? Should they ensure equality? Make independence even more fragile. The more tasks they take on, the more politicians want to influence them. Let's talk about digital currencies. More than 130 countries are exploring central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. China already launched and is moving toward a digital euro. The United States is considering a digital dollar. These projects put enormous power in the hands of central banks, the ability to track every transaction, to potentially control how money is used. On one hand, CBDCs could make transactions faster, cheaper, and more transparent. On the other hand, they open the door to political control like never before. If independence is already at risk, imagine a future where your money isn't just paper in your wallet, but programmable code on a server controlled by a politically influenced central bank. That should make us all pay attention. Now, let's humanize this further with another story. In Argentina, decades of political interference in the central bank have created a cycle of inflation and collapse. People there don't trust their own currency anymore. Instead, they save in US dollars, often hiding them under mattresses or exchanging them in the black market. Imagine living in a country where you cannot trust your bank, your savings, or even your paycheck. That's the reality First, we need awareness. Most people don't even know what central banks do, yet their decisions shape our everyday lives. By understanding the importance of independence, we can hold leaders accountable when they try to undermine it. Second, we need stronger rules and protections for independence. In some countries, laws already exist that prevent political interference. In others, those protections are weak. Citizens, academics, and civil society must demand stronger safeguards. Third, we need central banks themselves to communicate better. They cannot remain mysterious. People need to know why they are raising or cutting rates, what their goals are, and how their decisions protect stability. Transparency builds trust. Finally, we need you. Yes, you. Because change starts with awareness. You can protect yourself by staying informed, by diversifying your savings, and by paying attention to inflation trends. Learn where your money is stored. And in a world where central bank independence is at risk, it's the best shield you have. Now, let me ask you, do you think central banks should remain independent, or should politicians have more influence over money decisions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's spark a discussion because this affects us all. If this video gave you new insights, hit that like button so more people can learn about the risks we face. Subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into money, economics, and the forces shaping our financial future. And don't forget to share this with someone you care about, because when it comes to financial awareness, we are stronger together. The truth is clear. Central bank independence is under threat, but by paying attention, by speaking up, and by preparing ourselves, we can ensure that the money we earn, save, and spend remains stable and trustworthy. Remember, when independence is lost, everyone pays the price. Let's not wait until the next crisis to realize what we had. Let's protect it now.